my view of that. And also I share a lot with Dr. Bakri. I think One Malaysia is the beginning, it's a slogan that signifies the beginning of a rupture. Rupture is something that is beginning to break. The time has come for the evolution of the destruction of all these race-based parties, right? Whether it's destruction of the totally Malay, Chinese, Indian. Right? Because after 50 years, there's not much. Well, there's a lot of things that has been done, but somehow or other, in the historical march of things, when history marches, certain things have to happen. They cannot stop things from happening. Right? And one must begin to again talk about changes, prepare for changes. Why do people get together and form this or that parties based on race? Because again, the whole idea of nationalism, nation itself, it's a French idea in the 1700s. The whole idea of nation itself is the ability to come together because of the through linguistic, cultural, whatever commonality. And in a country that is so globalized, it's like, you're hitting globalization is a force that hits any nation and erodes all these things that, nationalism, so that everything can go through a rupture and emerge something new. It's not necessarily bad, not necessarily scary. It's something that one has to accept. But how do you accept change without becoming a violent opposer to changes? Will UMNO, will MIC, MCA be existent in 10, 15 years time? Maybe, maybe not. Right? Will all of you be in existence as a club? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you might be, out of this club and then joining and beginning to explore other things around you and say that, well, then you say to yourself, well, to hell with the slogans, whatever. One Malaysia, two Malaysia, three Malaysia. What is important is that how do you yourself prepare yourself, to understand yourself and also the cultures around you and integrate those things so that it will become part of the things that will be to your advantage, both personal growth and also your professional growth. Slogans are slogans, just like branding, right? You want a new product, you put a new face to it, but probably the thing will be still the same. We have gone through so many sloganizing process since the beginning of independence. Still remember the song Muhibah?
Oh yes, yeah.
Muhibah, itulah amalan kita semua, Muhibah. And then before that it was the slogan, not slogan, political slogan, but hapuskan komplot sorok. People were hiding things, hiding rice, sugar, everything, so that the price will be hiked up. I'm not that old, sorry. But when I was a child, I was always fascinated with language and everything, slogans. And every time I go from one place to another, I would be very busy looking at street names and also, and even my dissertation is on an analysis of street names of places and things like that, and the multimedia super corridor. But the slogan itself, just take it as another slogan, but with, for example, people acknowledging that we have to open up to other things, other races, and to understand this has not happened. You won't see this 5-10 years ago. People were still talking about, oh, we have to protect our rights as this or that race. We have to fight for this or that superiority. And if people start questioning us, we have to fight to the Constitution. It is in the Constitution not to question this or that. But now everything's becoming to be not just accepted, but people are beginning to say, wait a minute, this is not right. And because people have been writing so much for all these things. So don't worry about slogan, because it's not just my final word is this, right? Sometimes when we organize seminars and things like that, not just here but universities in Malaysia too, we always bound by the idea that we have to have this slogan as if we are promoting this slogan, and we have to talk within this framework. To me, organize seminar and say that, well, race relations in Malaysia, where do we go from here? That is enough. Or, for example, the developing cultural competency among students, Malaysian students. That's it. Right? And that you deal with a very neutral but very meaningful, so that we won't be our topics, the talks, we won't be gearing towards this or that party. party is party, political parties, no? But it is your in-depth intellectual exploration of things that are, to me, as you know, and I believe with Dr. Bakri also, that we want to see all youngsters studying here, Malaysians, wherever they are, will excel. Even in my classes too, that we don't emphasize whether he is what. In my class, when my students, the first thing I asked them is that the cross-culture perspective is that for them to explore how Puerto Rican they are, how hybrid they are, where their parents come from, and this or that, and use it as a strength so that you can share that hybridity and bring that to the discussions and explore other cultures and explore other religious perspective, cultural philosophies, and finally to study media perception of all these things. We have not come to that stage yet. All of you are very good at organizing this, but in Malaysia, big. Right? So probably that's my final. And one Malaysia, essentially we must look at human beings as human beings. We're talking about dehumanizing. When another nation wants to go to war with another nation, the first step is to dehumanize, to look at the person, the race, the nation, not as human beings, but as lower than human beings. For example, in the history of American history, the African Americans are considered 3/5 of the human being before the Emancipation Proclamation of before the liberation of the freedom of the slaves. All kinds of names. Until now, the perception of African Americans has not been good, especially for those who do not understand. But do you understand? Do people take the time to sit, understand, let alone teach and help a black child to learn? This is the thing. You must cross that barrier, that cultural boundary, in order to understand this. It doesn't matter whether you come from the kampong or village, but once you're here, it is something that we must engage in the exploration, in friends. And to dehumanize is very simple. You go to, America wants to bomb Vietnam, then dehumanize the Vietnamese as gooks. The Chinese called chinks. Stereotypes. Go beyond the stereotypes. In Malaysia, we get so many things. You hear teachers of other race calling the child, a student in class, by derogatory names, and they say you won't amount to nothing because you are this. And what does that mean to a child? How could a teacher, supposed to be teaching the child to excel as a human being, how could a teacher use those words, right? And say that, well, you are going to be that. You're going to be gangster because your race is fit to be that. How could you do that? This is the idea, and we must accept this. I think so,